Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. I, of course, am Sir Bedia, and we are leaving off from where we last left off, and starting our first day in the zombie apocalypse. So, we have, of course, our character, Sir Beard the First, and he won't be Sir Beard the Last, I can guarantee you that. I've also set up a tiny little window here that will display the current key, the last key press that I've put in. So once we actually get in there, here we go. So you can see what I'm doing and how I'm moving. So we have a first contact. So down here, you'll see this little footprint icon. That means that our character has heard a noise. So something out there is making some noise. So let's go and have a look at what it is. And can't see a thing. But it looks like there might be a minefield because there are some. Oh, it could be a worm. All right, this will be either a worm or this, or somebody's put a minefield um, right next to the shelter. It's probably going to be a worm. Oh well. So with a window, all right, you can see here that this is a window with curtains. All right. So just by walking into it, we have opened the curtain, and now we are able to see outside. All right, we can see here an overall image. If we walk into the window again, because we're on the inside, we will open the window. And you can see here the icon has changed to show an open window. And the movement cost is 20? I think that probably should be 200. Oh well. And then we can actually walk outside. Alternatively, if we press C, it will let us close things. So we can close the window and then close the curtain. So we can no longer see what's out there. So what we want to do is we want to have a look and figure out where we are. So with M, uh, yeah, with M, we open up our local regional map and we can see what's out there. Uh, so we have forest. So we knew we have forest and a road, and it looks like the road turns south very quickly, and it heads off. So we have open field here and forest here, and the road ends up at a small little town. So we have here a gun shop, a house, another house, another house, and a hardware store. The hardware store could be extremely useful because it's going to have potentially tools and equipment that we can use to build and construct and tear things apart. With houses, there's probably going to be some kind of maybe a vehicle or two there as well, which is going to be extremely useful. And typical America, three shops, a hardware store, and a gun store. Yeah. Um, there's also another house down here, and with a house here, and with only a few houses here, there's probably going to be some kind of city down here, I would think, or at least a few more houses down this way. This L here is going to be a science lab. Science labs, there's only two ways to get into them. The first one is to find some dead scientists and grab a key card off them, or two. The other way is to literally bust your way through the wall. And there are ways to do that, but they are well beyond us at the moment. So useful to know that it's there, but we're not going anywhere near it now. Labs are also relatively dangerous. The top floor is usually safe. Everything underground is going to be highly dangerous. So we won't be going in there for a while. Here we have a mansion. Mansions are very, very large and usually have a fair amount of zombies in there, but can also contain libraries which are going to have skill books. So we definitely want to hit up that mansion at some point. And up here, we have a radio tower. Radio towers are generally useless, but they might contain some components if they have some structures there. So eventually we're going to go check this place out, but not anytime soon. Our first stop is going to be this small town. So we can raid the houses for clothing and see what's there, and also the hardware store for any kind of tools that we can find. So that is going to be our Well, it's going to be a second stop because first things first, we need some weapons. We need something to kill those zombies with that's going to be more reliable than just our bare fists, which are very unreliable and very weak. So first things first, we check our inventory. So left button that toggles columns, right select things. So whatever you have selected. So you start off on the left column. If you want to go to the right column, you need to press left, and that will take you there. Right will actually select the item that you currently have highlighted, and it'll have both selections highlighted that'll toggle back and forth between. So the one that's brighter white, that's the one you actually have selected. So just keep that in mind. Tab will change mode. Move that there. Tab will change mode so it selects categories instead of. I don't know what it does. Uh, I don't know. I don't really use it, but item selection is what you're going to be using mainly. With your inventory, you have two weight limits. Okay, you have two limits of inventory. You have the weight, which is how much literal uh, weight you can carry. So at the moment with our strength, we have a weight of 53, and this is all your inventory combined, including, I believe, worn stuff as well. And then you have volume, and volume is basically how many pockets and straps and belts and um, places that you can carry. You get a little bit of volume from just your hands, but generally speaking, um, all your volume is going to come from your gear. All right. So if we have a look, our boxer shorts. So that's a little bar that represents the quality of your gear. So it's full health. It fits, so it's not encumbering. So we can see here that it's an item of clothing. It has a value of $10. It has a volume of 1 and a weight of 0. It's made out of cotton. It covers legs. The layer is close to the skin. I'll cover all that later. It covers 25% of our legs and it provides 5 warmth. Our encumbrance is 0. If an item fits you, it provides its base encumbrance. If it doesn't fit you, it encumbers you twice as much. So boxer shorts, they don't really encumber you. They're underwear, so 0. They provide 0 storage. They have no pockets or anything like that. And they provide protection of 2 bash, 2 cut, no acid, no fire, and 0 environmental protection. The bash is probably going to be most important because that's the primary attack of zombies. The cut is for when they try and bite you. Fire, you pretty much going to want a fire suit if you want to be working with fire. Acid is very, very important, especially if you have acid zombies in play for your anything that covers your legs and your feet primarily, because acid cannot be avoided. If you step in it, it will hurt you. It will burn your legs and feet. So acid is very important for anything that covers your legs and feet. A short little description and a few little attributes. So it fits you perfectly and it lies close to the skin. So that is from the layer close to the skin and fit. So that gives you a bit kind of a stat attribute summary. And here we can try and activate it. I don't think there's anything to activate. We can read it if it's a book. We can eat it if it's edible or drinkable. We can wear it, but we're already wearing it. We can wield it, which means you can equip it to smack stuff with it. Obviously, it's not going to do any damage, but whatever. Some things might. We can throw it. Interestingly enough, we can throw it without taking it off. So I guess these are stripper box shorts. Change side. Some things can be changed side, like holsters and things like that. We can remove it entirely, once again, without taking off our pants. So obviously, these are all stripper underwear. We can drop it entirely. We can unload it if it has stuff that it holds. So bottles we can unload from their contents. Weapons we can unload the ammunition, stuff like that. We can reload it if it has something to hold for ammunition. But not just weapons can be used for reloads. I'll cover those later. And we can disassemble it, which is to take it apart into its components. Now, this disassemble won't let us disassemble the box shorts, but there is a way we can tear it apart into cotton rags. So I'll cover that later. Reassign changes the letter or number that it's set to, and this option here will enable auto pickup. So if we enable this and we run into any more boxer shorts, it will automatically be picked up into our inventory. Very handy for lots of little items like ammunition. So we'll cover those later. So all of our gear fits us perfectly. The knit scarf has an encumbrance of 3, but it doesn't fit anyway. Interestingly, the knit scarf can be activated. So at the moment, I believe it's loose or it's tight. But either way, we can loosen to decrease its effective warmth value. So this one covers the mouth. And coverage, encumbrance for certain body parts is extremely important because it can affect your ability to stay alive. Warmth is also extremely useful. We have matchbook with 20 matches, and we can activate it to set things on fire. We have a pocket knife, which has no volume and minimal weight. It deals 0 bashing damage and 7 stab damage, but it has a penalty to hit for -4. But it's very fast, so it only takes 67 moves to actually attack, which means on average we can get about 3 attacks per 2 turns that a zombie might attack with. It's made of steel and plastic. It has a level 12 butchering quality, so we can use this to butcher things with without mangling it too much. And it has a level 1 cutting quality, so we can use this to whittle wood or stuff like that. And a little description. We also have a plastic bottle of clean water. So a bottle is only useful if it can be resealed and it is watertight. If it's not both of these attributes, it cannot carry water. You cannot refill it with water, which means it's largely useless except as scrap. All right. The other thing to keep in mind is that there is a very big difference between water and clean water. Water means unboiled, straight from the ground or straight from the sky water that has been poured into a container. You have to boil it to get it cleaned. If you don't boil it, it can give you food poisoning. If you get food poisoning, you could die. Probably. But you could get sick and throw up all your water. It has a volume the bottle has a volume of 2, whether it's full or empty, and a weight of 0.5. It's made of plastic. It has 0 nutrition because it's water, but it has a quench of 50. So that's very, very quenchy. Very quenchy. 2 portions in the bottle. Each portion of water or liquid is 0.25 liters. So the bottle can hold 50, so we can drink twice from it. So it has a total quench of 100 for the bottle. And general description, stuff like that. All right, so that covers what we have. So obviously we need weapons. So we need something to beat something else around the head with. So first things first, we'll go have a look around. What do we have? We have some scrap metal. We have some wreckage. But we have nothing to work with it. We could grab the scrap metal. These things here, underbrush, we can search through using a survival skill for various bits and pieces. There's a heavy stick over here. There's a squirrel over here. There's a hickory tree with a broken graphic over here. I think that we'll run over here and grab some scrap metal. So I don't know what's in the ground there. I think it's a worm. Oh, there's a black rat somewhere. I think it's a worm. So with E, we can examine. And we can see there's a scrap metal and chunk of steel. So we'll pick both of those up. And we'll also grab this heavy stick. And we'll run back in to the safety of the shelter. Shut the door. And we're good. So we'll open up the window so we can see. When you're crafting, you need to be able to see to craft most things. Some things can be crafted in the dark or in non-brightly lit things, but at a slower rate. Most things you need to be able to see. So you can see here that the light comes in through the window and it lights up this area here. Doesn't go any further, and the sun is shining here. We can't see what's through there. We can move and change our field of view, but that's all we can see. Anyway, so we will press W to wield, and we will wield the chunk of steel. And we can see that as a weapon, a chunk of steel does 8 bashing damage and costs 78 moves to attack, and has level 1 hammering quality, which is handy. And it also gives us a little hint about what we can actually craft with it. We can't craft, I think, most of this stuff immediately, but this is some of the stuff that we can craft with it. To craft, I'll get to that in a second. First things first, we'll get some materials. So we have here a locker and a bench. And a locker is full of metal, considering it's made of it, and a bench is made out of wood and nails. So wood and metal gives us a fantastic plethora of ingredients to work with, especially because we have both hammering and cutting tools. So we'll press S for smash, and we'll bash these apart. So I might have to do it a few times. There we go. All right, so what do we get out of it? So we've got a pipe, which is extremely useful, a chunk of steel, and a bunch of scrap metal. And we also have splintered wood, 6 nails, and a 2x4. Cool. So with Shift 7, the ampersand, we can go into our crafting menu. You can see here there's an indicator whether you can craft or not and how fast your speed is affected. And we have a few things. So we can currently craft a pointy stick, a cudgel, a nail board, and a makeshift crowbar. And we know how to, but can't craft all of this stuff. All right. So with crafting, you have a whole bunch of information that can be kind of daunting at first. So skills used is your fabrication. So to craft a pointy stick, we are using our skill of fabrication. We don't need any other skills, and the difficulty level is 0. Our skill level is 0 as well. To gain experience in this skill, you need to craft at equal or higher to your skill level. So this recipe will give us experience because our skill level is 0 and difficulty is 0. If the difficulty is higher than your skill level, then it makes it more difficult to actually craft, and you might fail the craft. So crafting at or below your skill level makes it much more reliable. Time to complete is 48 seconds, so not very long at all. So obviously, we're just whittling away the tip to make it pointy. It's impossible to craft in the dark. Not really sure why, but well. We require a tool with cutting quality of 1 or higher, and we have our knife, so that covers that. And we require 1 heavy stick, or a broom, or a 2x4, or a pool cue. So we require 1 of these 4 items. And we can see here that's highlighted green, a heavy stick, and a 2x4. So we picked up the heavy stick outside, and we got the 2x4 by smashing up the bench. And what do we get out of it? Well, we get a weapon with a value of 0, a volume of 5, a weight of 900 grams, with a bashing quality of 4 and a piercing quality of 8, and a hit bonus of +1 that costs 100 moves to attack. This is a reasonable weapon to start with, all right? It's made out of wood and it has a food cooking quality, so it's handy to have one of these as well, so you can cook stuff over a fire, like meat or whatnot. It has technique block, so when somebody throws an attack at us, we have a chance to automatically block most of the damage, and that damage will get dealt to the actual pointy stick. So eventually, if we block a lot, the stick will actually break outright and be destroyed. It'll take damage and we'll be able to potentially repair it, but for this particular thing, it's not really worth repairing. It's better off to just make a new one. All right, because we'll pretty much always have a cutting tool. It takes 48 seconds, and there are plenty of sticks everywhere. However, there is a better weapon. This one, the cudgel. So the cudgel requires pretty much the same stats, except it takes 12 seconds longer to make. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit well, it's a little bit larger. It's not heavier, but it's a little bit larger. It takes a volume of 8, but it deals 8 bashing damage. So it doesn't deal as much damage as the pointy stick, but it deals all of it bash, which means it won't get stuck in an enemy and then pulled out of your hands. And it has a +2 to hit bonus, so it's easier to hit with. It does take a little bit more moves to attack. It costs 11 moves more to attack, but it has precise strike and rapid strike techniques in addition to block. So we can still block with it, but we can also precise strike, which increases your critical hit chance, and we can rapid strike, which ends up costing less moves to attack on that particular attack. And you can get these up triggering pretty much every attack. So this cudgel can be a lot better than a pointy stick. There is also the makeshift crowbar, which deals 12 bashing and 1 cutting with +2 and 101 moves. So it's faster than the cudgel, but it deals more damage than the pointy stick with the accuracy of a cudgel. And it can also pry things open, which is nice. And you can clip and hook it to a belt loop, which is also nice. But you can't block with it. So there's no blocking, there's no precise, there's no rapid strike, there's none of that. There is an even better one, which is this one here, the 2x sword. And that one requires 2 2x4s or 4 heavy sticks. So we don't have the 2x4s, so it's down here. But if you have a look, it's got the blocking quality, which is fantastic, but it's got 12 bash, 1 cut, and 95 moves per attack. So it deals the damage of a pointy stick with the accuracy of a pointy stick, but you can still block with it. So the other advantage, of course, is that it's faster than a pointy stick, and you can eventually actually turn it into a better sword, like a makeshift sword, stuff like that. So there is stuff that you can do with a 2x sword that you can't with a pointy stick. And most of the damage is bashing as well. So once again, you won't really get caught by it. And a volume of 5 and a weight of 0.6 also means that it's also smaller and lighter, which just makes it a better weapon overall. So we'll make the 2x sword. We need the extra 2x4, so we'll smash that open, the other one, and there we go, 2x4 or 2x sword. So we'll go ahead. Yes, we will ignore it. There we go. And we will press W to wield, and we will wield the 2x sword. We'll need to drop the chunk of steel for now. One thing to remember with crafting is that it has a range of about 5 squares, either 5 or 7. So any item within about 5 squares of you will be considered for ingredients. So keep that in mind. So if we actually go over here, for example, we can still craft all the same stuff because we still have everything. Um, Now, the makeshift crowbar is handy, but it does make noise when you try and pry things apart. So what we'll do, and this one here you can actually toggle. This one's actually a bit of a lie. Tab will toggle between the top columns, and so will the arrow. Left and right will toggle the filters. Okay, so we have ammunition. We can make darts from heavy stick, which are used for blowguns. So you can't actually throw these, but they're used for blowguns. And we can make a metal fragments. I think they're BB weapons. So if you have a BB gun, you can use these as ammunition. There's also pebbles, and these bolts. I'm really not sure why they're here. Probably because they're 0 skill fabrication, which I think should be higher than that. But these are highly advanced bolts that we're not going to deal with right now. Food, pretty much most, if not all food requires a fire. So it requires 3 charges of a hot plate, or 3 charges of a charcoal smoker, or 3 charges of an integrated tool set, which is a bionic thing, or a nearby fire. So pretty much everything requires the fire. All right. So fire is going to be one of your most powerful tools and one of your most valuable tools. Always have a way to set things on fire. Chemistry. We're not gonna deal with that right now. Electronics is also advanced stuff, so we're not gonna deal with it. Armor is clothing and armor. This is one of the more valuable skills that you have in your belt. The ability to make your own equipment and gear, because you will find a lot of really crappy gear from zombies. You'll be able to tear apart, fix up, patch up, reinforce, strengthen, repair, and turn into your own improved gear. So tailoring is extremely useful. And other is your general purpose crafting. So basically everything that's not weapon, ammunition, food, chemistry, electronics, or armoring. So we can make a spike, an improvised lockpick, and a fishing hook. Fishing hook is weightless and massless and basically completely on its own. Interestingly enough, it can make a decent weapon because it costs 65 and it's got a cut of 3. It's obviously a crap weapon, relatively speaking, but it can be a weapon in a pinch. But more importantly, you can use it to make a fishing rod, which allows you to basically fish. So I'm going to make one of those. There we go. And we are going to make an improvised lockpick as well. So we will use some scrap metal on us, and if you use the minus button, it will repeat. So yes, yes. There we go. So we have 4 improvised lockpicks. Improvised lockpicks have a chance of being damaged and then breaking when you try and open a locked door, but they are completely silent. They don't make any noise, so you can get into a house in the dead of the night without any zombies hearing you. Zombies will track you based on sight first. So if they see you, they will chase you. If they can't see you, but they can smell you, then they will follow the scent. If they can't see or smell you, then they will follow any noise in the area. So if you're being chased by zombies, break line of sight, set a fire to create some smoke to clear off your scent, and then book it somewhere where they can't hear you, or make a much louder noise that will draw them away. Just keep in mind that if they can see you, making a noise won't do anything because they can see you. They'll chase you no matter what noise is nearby. So break line of sight, throw off the scent, make some noise somewhere else. So those are very useful survival skills. So now we have our 2x sword, and we have ourselves some lockpicks. Let's go and see what's up. Before anything else, though, let's check out the downstairs. We might be able to find something useful. So the right arrow, I guess, on your keyboard moves you downstairs. The left one moves you upstairs. So we are now downstairs. We'll open up this door, and what do we have? We have gummy vitamins. Vitamins are handy. We have a t-shirt. We have more gummy vitamins. We'll leave those. We have regular vitamins. We have a second bottle of clean water. Very useful. We'll take that. A hexamine stove with 50 charges. This is handy. This is a stove. Stoves are extremely valuable because it allows us to cook without lighting a fire and throwing light everywhere. We got some shorts that don't fit. We got another t-shirt that doesn't fit. And that's it. So, ooh, and some thread. Thread's handy. Okay. So we'll go back upstairs and actually, can we make... we can make a makeshift hammer. Yeah, we'll take that. The threads. The threads let us make the makeshift hammer. Hammer and screwdriver lets you disassemble furniture. Very useful for disassembling things. So we will take the hammer because we need it. And what do we need for a screwdriver? I believe we need steel and scrap metal. That's easy to get. And we need duct tapes. Duct tapes are going to be more difficult. So we're going to have to try and find some duct tapes. Okay. Let's get moving. Yeah, that's definitely a worm outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we are going to wait for the worm. There it is. To appear. So it's a giant worm. Yes. So by moving into an enemy, we make an attack against it. So we whack it for 11 damage and we dodge its attack. We smack it again for a critical for 13. We smack it again for 6, but I managed to hit our right arm. And you can see here that our 2x sword blocked a portion of that damage. We hit it again for 8 damage and dodged its counterattack. And we smack it again for 28 with a critical and hack it in two. Beautiful. Um, Now we have to kill the two halves. So it hit us in the head, and we dodged the other half, so we'll smack. Oh, go away. We smack this one for 11 damage, and our armor and block protected us the rest of the way. We smack it for another 8 damage, and another 7 damage, and now it's dead. And we'll smack this one for 5, and 28 with a critical, and it's dead. So now we have um, 2 dead worms that we can butcher for meat, yay, and we have some injuries. So with shift 2, we have our current status. So you can see that our intelligence is 1 lower than our base because of our pain. We also have our encumbrance and warmth here, but I'll cover that in a little bit later. Our base melee damage is 7.5 as well. So that is our unarmed damage. So always handy to remember that. And then we have our skills. So we have level 3 in mechanics because we took 3 in mechanics. And we have a little bit of experience in melee, fabrication, bashing weapons, dodging, and survivalism. And no experience or skill in anything else. And we can see that we have the effects of pain, and pain is reducing our movement speed by 6%. So we have 10 pain, and it's reducing our movement speed by 6%. So it's going to make it a little bit slower, and our intelligence is affected by that as well. And we have a stamina here. Right here as well, we have our current warmth. So this is how warm we are at the moment. So at the moment, we are comfortable, and we are getting colder because we are exposed to the environment. Inside a building, it will always be comfortable. So whether there's a fire in there or not, or whether we're in the middle of a winter or whatever, the inside of a building that's sealed will always be comfortable. So if you're about to freeze to death, um, get inside something enclosed. So we'll deal with the worm bits in the next episode because we're up to half an hour now. So I'll put a break here. And if you're enjoying so far, hit subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you tomorrow when we will deal with worm bits and start our trek towards that little small village. See you next time.